it's Tina O'Dwyer, tourism trainer, facilitator and clarity coach. Today I'm speaking about the purpose of food tourism networks. This year I'm lucky enough to be working with a large number of food tourism networks. Some are at the very beginning stages, coming together for the first time to create a destination food story. Others have already made quite a lot of headway and are now seeking to elevate that into real impact. And even still others have already achieved quite a lot in food tourism terms and are trying to push through to the next level and to elevate all of their activity. But no matter the stage of development, all of these networks are challenged by getting clear on their purpose and their overall objectives. So an example would be when asked, any of the networks, when asked why they do what they do, will say things like, well, we've great food here, we've great produce, we've some of the best chefs, we've some of the best growers, it's a great place for food. And I say, yeah, well that is great, so I'm still going to ask, why are you doing what you're doing? And then we'll move on to, well, we want to showcase that and we want to share that with the world and we want to preserve this culture and this heritage and we want to collaborate and we want to, make the most of the food tourism opportunity. And again, that all sounds great and sounds exactly what food tourism networks should be about. But to challenge it even further, it is important to ask the question, okay, well, what impact do you want to achieve from doing all that? What do you want to walk away with 12 to 18 months from now, after all a year or a year and a half of networks activity? And that's when we start to move into the domain of really defining the purpose of the network, because then people will start to say, well, we want visitors to stay longer. We want our visitors to spend more money here. We want businesses to sustain in this area. We want local growers and producers to be able to have livelihoods here. They're real objectives and they're things you can actually measure. So it's important in food tourism terms to remember that the purpose of the network is about things like spend, stay, business, profitability, perhaps growing awareness of the destination. And sometimes I say, well, why didn't you say that in the beginning when I asked why you're doing what you're doing? And commonly the answer is, sure, that goes without saying. And it's really important to realise that nothing goes without saying when people are trying to collaborate together. It's really important to be crystal clear about why the Food Tourism Network exists and to repeat that often so that people stay on the same page. Particularly in food terms where there's so much momentum and so much opportunity right now, it can be really very difficult to maintain focus. And it's important to distinguish between the activity of the network and the purpose of the network. So as activities, a network might decide to set up a food trail or run a food festival or create new experiences. And they're a means to the end. They're a means of achieving the overall purpose. They're not the end in themselves. And that's really important to just keep in mind for everyone in the network, that it's not food for food's sake, it's food for food tourism's sake. And to be a strong and effective food tourism network, it's always important to remember that it's about the visitor and it's about the experience around the food rather than the food itself.